Well, good evening. Thanks a lot for staying with us. You're watching Nation at 5 with me, Ridhima Bhatnagar. We're coming to you live from the newsrooms of CNN News 18. As always, there's lots lined up for you over the next 60 minutes. But let's begin with the top story that we've been focusing all day long here on CNN News 18, which is the big verdict that has come in as far as the Allahabad High Court is concerned, essentially giving a green light as far as the ASI survey in the ongoing Gyanvapi case is concerned. On expected lines, the Hindu side is celebrating. They see this as the first victory in what they call their right to pray and their right to justice. You would remember that a lot of concerns had been raised as far as why this survey should not happen by the Muslim side, where they had gone on to say they feel the structure will be damaged. They felt the Wazukhana area will be damaged, but all of those concerns have been rejected by the High Court when this green light for the ASI survey has been given. In fact, we're understanding the survey proceedings will begin tomorrow itself. But the Muslim side, not happy with the verdict that has come in, has already approached the top court, the Supreme Court. So what's really next as far as this ongoing battle of the Gyanvapi case is concerned? We'll get our colleagues in just a bit. But before that, we want to break down some details in terms of this very crucial order copy that we've accessed for you here on CNN News 18. And of course, we'll put out this order copy for you also in just a bit, where we're going to detail how the court has rejected all these concerns that have been raised as far as the Muslim side is concerned. As I pointed out, they said that they feel that the entire structure is going to be damaged. They felt the Wazukhana is going to be damaged. All of that has been put aside as far as the court is concerned. But what is also interesting to note here is that the Muslim side has already approached the top court. They feeling that this is a complete injustice as far as the ongoing case is concerned. So we'll break down the details in just a bit. We'll get our legal correspondent also to come in. We'll also speak to a Hindu petitioner on how they feel about the concerns and the demands that continue to come in as far as the Muslim side is concerned. More importantly, we'll also talk to you about why this ASI survey is extremely crucial. And this is what we've heard from the court also today, that if you need to decide which way we need to go forward, what is the truth, what is not the truth, then the survey is the only way to go forward. So as we said, we here at CNN News 18, in fact, have accessed this very detailed order copy. Let me just read out some operative bits. The court has gone on to say, we find no substance in the argument of applicant, defendant, number 4, that because the ASI survey has not been joined as a party to the suit, it cannot be directed to do any technical investigation. It also says the report of the ASI would be utilized by the parties. They can submit their proposition or objection if any. The court has also gone on to say very clearly in this order copy that they find no substance in the argument of the applicant defendant that without digging any wall, things can be finalized by the ASI. As I pointed out, these were concerns that were raised by the Muslim side, that if this ASI survey does happen, then the entire structure will be damaged. They also felt that the area of the Wazukhana also will be damaged. They also felt that these claims that are coming in from the Hindu side, in fact, were fictional in nature. So all of that has now been rejected by the court when it paves the way for the ASI survey, which, as I pointed out, in fact, the proceedings will begin as early as tomorrow. We want to break down some other details also in terms of why this ASI survey becomes very, very crucial. What does it aim to achieve? And more importantly, the assurances that have come in as far as the ASI affidavit is concerned, in terms of the assurances that they've given over concerns that have been raised as far as the Muslim side is concerned. Before we bring in our legal correspondent and speak to some Hindu petitioners also, it's important for our viewers to understand the terms and assurances that have been given as far as the ASI affidavit is concerned. So as you can see on your screens, the assurances that have been given as far as the affidavit is concerned, it says that there will be no damage as far as the entire structure is concerned. It also goes on to say that there will be no damage as far as the Wazukhana is concerned. And what more importantly is important to understand here is the word that is coming from the court when they say that this is needed to understand justice going forward. So that's where things currently stand. Let's also now bring in our legal correspondent Ananya Bhatnagar, who in fact has been tracking these developments for us. Ananya, why these assurances from the ASI affidavit become important is because these were exactly the concerns that were raised by the Muslim side, where they said if the survey happens, the structure will be damaged. If the survey happens, the Wazukhana area will be damaged. The ASI affidavit, in fact, going on to say that not even a single brick will be moved from its original position. Okay, we seem to have lost that line with our legal correspondent Ananya Bhatnagar. We'll try and get him back. But as I pointed out, what is important to note here is, of course, these assurances that have been given as part of the affidavit by the ASI, which in fact will begin the survey as early as tomorrow. You would remember that the ASI survey had already begun on the 24th of July, but it had to be aborted midway because the case had reached the Supreme Court. So today, you've got a green flag that has come in from the Allahabad High Court, and the proceedings of this survey will begin tomorrow morning. Our legal correspondent Ananya Bhatnagar is now back with us. Ananya, if you can hear me this time around, I was asking why these assurances as part of the ASI affidavit become important is because exactly these were the concerns raised by the Muslim side. They said if the survey happens, the structure will be damaged. If the survey happens, the Wazukhana will be damaged. But what the affidavit is assuring people, and even the Muslim side, is that not even a single brick, in fact, will be moved from its original position.
Well, definitely, Ridhima, this is an order that is coming from the Allahabad High Court, and that ASI affidavit has played a very, very crucial role, very important role when it comes to the survey being conducted. It is very, very categorically stated that not even on a brick, not even a single stone, the smallest of the stone would be moved from its side when this survey would be conducted. It will completely be through a scientific method. It will be through modern technology, and it is possible to, without, taking out even a single brick, and to without imparting a stone, there is a survey possible. There is a scientific survey possible. Exactly what has been told by the Archaeological Survey of India, and very categorically, the court has also noted that no damage would be caused to the surface or any kind of a structure that exists there. And definitely, this is a big win coming in for the Hindu side. But what we are also getting to know is that the Muslim side has, moved the topmost court of the country, seeking an urgent hearing in this matter. Whether or not that is allowed for today or tomorrow, that is a matter of time. The Chief Justice of India will have to pass directions on it. But definitely, it's a big win coming in for the team of Vishnu Shankar Jain and those representing the Hindu petitioners in this particular case. Very, very categorically, the Hindu side has been arguing. And Mr. Vishnu Shankar Jain is currently joining me. Vishnu, my first question to you is, Allahabad High Court has given out this order. How do you react to it? What is your reactions to the orders that have come in from the Allahabad High Court?
See, I feel and I believe, and this is my legal opinion, that the order passed by the Allahabad High Court is perfectly valid and it is legally sound, because the objections which was raised by Anjuman Intezamia were specifically that the commission cannot be issued at this stage and ASI was not made a party in the case. To that, we have already pointed out judgments of the Honorable Supreme Court where it has been said that commission can be issued at any stage and experts are not required to be made party in that case. So all these things have been pointed before the Honorable Allahabad High Court, and after hearing both the sides, the Honorable Allahabad High Court has passed a detailed order.
Vishnu, is an urgent hearing that has been sought by the Muslim side, is it a possibility that the hearing can happen today itself?
See, I am also present in the Supreme Court, so let's see if there is a hearing, then we'll make our submissions before the Honorable.
Is in the Hindu side very, very happy with the orders that have come in from the Allahabad High Court?
Definitely, it's a very good order and a legally perfect order. So let's see if there is a hearing in the Supreme Court, we will make our submissions and then we'll proceed with the survey.
So this was Vishnu Shankar Jain who was speaking to us after, in fact, the Allahabad High Court has passed down this order very categorically, saying that, they welcome the order that is coming from, in fact, the Allahabad High Court, and now the battle is before the Supreme Court of India. Whether or not that happens, whether or not that actually comes into the picture is something that we'll have to wait and watch for. Whether a Supreme Court actually allows for a hearing today or tomorrow, that is also has to be seen. But this is a big development coming in, and we'll keep tracking that for our viewers, bringing them the first information always.
That's true, and I keep a close eye on all those developments for us. Of course, tomorrow, as we pointed out, the ASI survey proceedings will begin. We in fact have a petitioner from the Hindu side, Manju Vyas, who in fact is now joining us on the broadcast. Manju जी, बहुत-बहुत धन्यवाद हमसे बात करने के लिए. आप लोगों के लिए काफ़ी खुशी का दिन है. आप लोग काफ़ी टाइम से कह रहे थे कि एक सर्वे होना चाहिए. अब उस सर्वे को इलाहाबाद हाई कोर्ट ने अलाउ कर दिया है. अब हमें पता चल रहा है कि सर्वे कल सुबह ही शुरुआत हो जाएगा. आपको कैसा लग रहा है?
भी बहुत खुशी की बात है कि आज सर्वे की डेट आ गई है। जो चीज हम लोग चाह रहे थे, सर्वे हो जाना चाहिए। सर्वे से क्यों पीछे भाग रहे हैं मुस्लिम पक्ष? क्योंकि खुल करके सबूत सामने, सबके सामने आ जाएंगे जो वो सच को छुपाना चाह रहे थे। त्रिशूल मस्जिद में क्या कर रहा है, स्वास्तिक मस्जिद में क्या कर रहा है, हमारे कमल के जो हमारे मंदिर का चिन्ह है वो उस मस्जिद में क्या कर रहे हैं? इसी मस्जिद में क्या हमारे वास्तव के मंदिर के चिन्ह है वहां उनके पास? वो हमें बताए ना। क्यों नहीं वो हम लोग को जवाब देते हैं इस बात का? और क्यों डर के मारे सर्वे होने के कारण वो भाग रहे हैं? हमारा शख्स, हमारा काशी विश्वनाथ का वो जो 12 ज्योतिर्लिंग में एक मेन ज्योतिर्लिंग वही है जिसमें कहता है सती शिव है और शिव ही सत्य है। तो वो सत्य से क्यों पीछे भाग रहे हैं, ये समझ में नहीं आ रहा हम लोगों को। तो सर्वे हो जाने दीजिए, दूध का दूध और पानी का पानी, समझ में आ जाएगा लोगों को।
जी मंजू जी, मैं दो चीज़ आपसे समझना चाहती हूँ। जो मुस्लिम पक्ष है वो अभी तक कह रहा था कि हम चाहते नहीं है कि एएसआई सर्वे हो, क्योंकि उनको लगता था कि पूरा जो स्ट्रक्चर है उसको डैमेज पहुँचाया जा सकता है। उनको लगता था कि वजू खाना को भी डैमेज पहुँचाया जा सकता है। आज एएसआई के एफिडेविट ने और कोर्ट ने भी कहा है कि ऐसा कुछ नहीं होगा। पर जो मुस्लिम पक्ष है वो अभी भी कह रहा है कि हम खुश नहीं हैं। उन्होंने टॉप कोर्ट को भी अब अप्रोच करा है, उसको कैसे देखते हैं आप?
कुछ नहीं होगा, बिना छेड़छाड़ के ही सर्वे हो जाएगा। सर्वे को होने तो दीजिए, क्यों भाग रहे हैं पीछे? उनको लग रहा है कि हमारी सच्चाई सामने आ जाएगी। और यही बात है, अब हम लोग जैसे हम लोग आज हमारे भगवान वहाँ पे शिवलिंग निकला है, उस पे हम लोग जो सील पैक किया गया है, हम तो कहते हैं अब देश भर में यही कहना चाहते हैं कि अब नमाज पे भी रोक लगा देनी चाहिए कि वहाँ नमाज नहीं पढ़ने देंगे। और सर्वे हो जाने दीजिए, सच्चाई सामने आ जाएगी, दूध का दूध और पानी का पानी हो जाएगा। क्यों पीछे भाग रहे हैं, क्यों डर रहे हैं, किस बात का उनको भय है? मतलब ये बताए ना हमें, किस बात का भय है?
जी मंजू जी, आप कह रही हैं कि जो एएसआई सर्वे है वो ज़रूरी इसलिए है कि सच का सच पानी का पानी हो जाएगा, पर जो वज़ू खाना का जो एरिया है वो सर्वे का पार्ट नहीं होगा। तो क्या हिंदू पक्ष को पूरा भरोसा है इस सर्वे पे कि जो भी फाइंडिंग्स होंगी उसको आप स्वीकार करेंगे?
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल स्वीकार करेंगे। और सच कहाँ तक छुपा के रखोगे? सच सामने उभर के आ जाएगा और सर्वे से हम लोग बिल्कुल संतुष्ट हो जाएंगे। और सच आना चाहिए, सर्वे होना चाहिए। सर्वे की इसीलिए तो हम लोग मांग कर रहे थे ना। जैसे विपक्ष को कह रहा है कि वो ये है, तो बता देना कि हमारा वो मंदिर है। हम लोग तो कह रहे हैं हमारा मंदिर है, तो सर्वे हो जाने दीजिए, पता चल जाएगा कि मंदिर है कि मस्जिद।
जी मंजू जी, एक चीज़ मैं आपसे और पूछना चाहती हूँ। कुछ दिन पहले यूपी के जो चीफ मिनिस्टर हैं योगी आदित्यनाथ, उन्होंने पहली बार इस पूरे इशू के बारे में बोला था। उन्होंने कहा था कि एक गलत हो गया है और जो रेजोल्यूशन है वो मुस्लिम पक्ष की तरफ से आना चाहिए। इस पे पॉलिटिकली काफ़ी बवाल मचा था। काफ़ी पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज़ ने सामने आके कहा था कि एक चीफ मिनिस्टर को ऐसे कॉमेंट्स नहीं देने चाहिए क्योंकि ये मैटर अभी सब जुडिस है, कोर्ट में है। उसको आप कैसे देखती हैं?
जी, हमारे आदरणीय मुख्यमंत्री जी ने जो कहा है, पहले तो हम उनका स्वागत करते हैं, अभिनंदन करते हैं, उनको सच प्रणाम करते हैं। जो उन्होंने सच था वो सबके सामने जनता को पहुंचाया कि उसमें एक अंधे व्यक्ति को भी प्रवेश किया जाए तो वो भी स्पष्ट करके बता सकता है कि वो मंदिर है कि मस्जिद है। तो त्रिशूल मस्जिद में क्या कर रहा है, स्वास्तिक मस्जिद में क्या कर रहा है, क्या वो हम लोगों ने लगा दिए हैं? वो हम लोगों ने लगा दिए हैं। तो वो मंदिर है तो मंदिर ही रहेगा। मस्जिद कोई कहता है टोपा पहना दे, जो गुम्बद है उसमें हमारा साक्षात शिखर नजर आ रहा है। तो बताइए, वास्तव में वो मंदिर है तो हम लोग उसको मंदिर कर रहे हैं। तो मस्जिद लगा के बैठे हुए हैं, तो अब जिद छोड़ के पुराना इतिहास मत दोहराए, क्योंकि हम लोग 30,000 मंदिरों का जवाब से ले लेंगे फिर हम। ये हमारी क्यों की नगरी है, यहाँ कण में क्यों बचे हैं?
जी मंजू जी, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद हमसे बात करने के लिए। अनफॉर्चुनेटली वी विल हैव टू लीव दैट कॉन्वर्सेशन देयर। सो द हिंदू petitioners, they are saying that we continue with our demand with the ASI survey, and we see this as a first step for justice because we feel this will be the only way where the truth will eventually come out. Now this is a story that we'll keep tracking very very closely, but let's quickly shift our focus to the other big story that we want to bring to you this evening, which is the ground situation in Nuh and the surrounding areas as far as other parts in Haryana are concerned. Now viewers would remember it's now day 4 since episodes of violence were reported from Nuh and the surrounding areas. A lot of developments have happened. More arrests have happened, Over 100 people now stand arrested. More FIRs have been filed as well. There is a clear assurance that is coming from the Haryana Chief Minister Manohar Lal Khattar that no person will be spared and the strictest of punishment in fact will be given. But there is still a lot of sensitivity and volatility as far as the ground is concerned. Some areas section 144 still continues to be imposed. As far as a review on the internet ban is concerned, that is under process today as well. People waiting for a sense of normalcy to return. Before we bring in our colleagues and try and understand what the ground situation is like, let's break down the details in terms of what day 4 in Nuh and the surrounding areas really looked like in terms of as far as the investigation is concerned. A 3-member SIT was also now been formed to try and probe to understand whether this was pre-planned, the number of people involved, where did the arms and ammunition come from, so on and so forth. As I pointed out, over 100 people, 139 people have been arrested and upwards of 40 FIRs have already been lodged. Curfew has also been lifted from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. So there are some signs of a sense of normalcy now coming back in these areas. Section 144 and curfew will remain. As I pointed out, there is still a heavy deployment on the ground as well. The decision on the reopening of schools and colleges, in fact, will be taken tomorrow. As I pointed out, normal life came to a complete standstill once these episodes of violence came to light on the 31st of July. Let's also now bring in our colleague Anvit, who in fact has been tracking these developments for us. Anvit, we just gave a sequence of events to our viewers of what day 4 looked like in Nuh and the surrounding areas. Could you first help us understand the people who've been arrested, the key accused, and what are they saying as terms of who instigated the violence and whether do we have any clarity of this was being pre-planned or not?
See, this is one of the main key aspects that the police are also investigating, that whether or not this was entirely a conspiracy orchestrated by people with malified intentions who wanted this Jalabhishek Yatra to convert into a communal riot. And the police have said that all those who have been arrested, all those 139 people who have been arrested, their remand have been taken from the court. All of them have been given on different days of remand to the police. Those whose remands were completed, they were brought back to the court. We are right now reporting from the court itself. And those who were brought back to the court, they were sent to judicial custody. And police have submitted to the court that some people's remand is over and they are not needed back in the police remand, so they have been sent to judicial custody. Police are saying that these interrogations that has now begun after the remand has been granted, that will reveal some crucial details which might lead to some important developments in this case and in this entire matter. Also, one important thing is that police are saying that they are probing this entire case on 3 crucial aspects. One is to identify all those people who need to be verified, whose criminal antecedents are needed to be verified, so that police can identify whether or not criminals like Monu Manesar or anyone else whose names have surfaced, whether or not they were the conspirators who had mobilized this and all these rioters in these areas. Secondly, they are trying to find out if there is role of any outsider and any is there a larger conspiracy behind these riots and behind communal tension. Third important thing is that police are trying to find out that all those people who have been arrested, some people are saying that they, like we earlier talked to some of the people, they said that they are innocent. Police have rounded up a large number of people there because they don't want any evidence to they want to let loose any of the evidences. They have gathered all these people together and they've rounded them up to find out the main conspirators. Their dumb data is being collected to find out if any person who can be suspicious was present at that place or not, because this will be scientific evidence and this will be admissible in the court when the police charge sheets this case and forms a watertight case against those who have been arrested.
Anvit, I quickly also want to understand another aspect, which is that more and more reports now suggesting how this entire violence and vandalism was in fact planned on social media. What is the kind of crackdown that we are seeing on specific handles that have been identified by authorities?
See, not just social media, but also police are trying to gather videos and footages, whatever have been recorded from the ground zero during communal tension. Social media teams have also been formed. They are closely monitoring each and every post that was made between Monday or just hours before Monday when communal tension unfolded in this area of particularly of Nuh, from where it started. So police have dedicated teams. They are looking into some accounts. We are told also have been blocked and they have been reported further for legal action, and some profiles have also been zeroed upon who were trying to incite violence or provoke one communal group against another. So teams have been formed, and also many of those who have been arrested based on CCTV footages, based on the videos that the police personnel who were on ground in duty they had recorded, and the photos that they had clicked. So also there is one important point that police are saying that most of these people have been arrested and they have been now they have been produced in court, and their custody, once it's taken, their interrogation will further reveal details that will be used in the investigation of this case.
Okay, Anvit, I'll have to leave that conversation there. Thanks a lot for getting us all those details. Our colleagues continue to report for us. Multiple ground reports coming in. Let's take a look.
In the violence that broke out in Nuh, at least 5 people lost their lives, in which 2 were home guards who were deployed over there just to make sure that peace returns to that place. One of them was Neeraj. Neeraj belongs from a family that has served the country in the army for many, many decades. And as he went there to make sure that peace returns and normalcy returns to that place, he was killed by those rioters. And in fact, in his post-mortem report, it has come out that he was bludgeoned with stones, and injuries were the main reason for his death. I'm currently being joined by the family of Neeraj. He is Neeraj's father, Mr. Chiranjeevi Lal. सर, आपने बहुत कुछ देखा जिंदगी में. नीरज से आखिरी बार आपकी क्या बात हुई जब वो घर से निकल रहा था?
सुबह हो गया था, बोल पापा मैं जा रहा हूँ खाना खा के, मुझे जा बेटा ड्यूटी कर. वो चला गया. उसके बाद में कोई मुलाकात नहीं मिली, ना उसका कोई फोन आया, ना हम करते थे शाम को आ जाएगा. 5:30 बजे से फोन आया बड़े लड़के के पास कि नीरज जो खत्म हो गया. अच्छा. वो रोने लगा तो ये मेरा बड़े भाई पहुंचे, इनको वैसे मिला मानेसर आ जाओ. मानेसर जाने लगे, आधम में कहने लगे आप मैदान तो हॉस्पिटल में आ जाओ. मैदान तो हॉस्पिटल में गए, सर्जरी में वो उस टाइम रख दिए था.
3 days since violence broke out in Nuh, and since then tensions have been simmering across districts in Haryana, especially in Gurugram. At this point in time, I am reporting from Bashapur area of Gurugram, where there were a few reports had come up that a few shops were set on fire. Fearing the hate, fearing the anger, many people have vacated their houses, as you can see in these visuals right here, that people who were living in these houses, these people were basically from the Muslim communities, and we saw that the manner in which Muslims were targeted out here, especially in Gurugram, and hence all these people have locked their houses and have gone away from here. What the other locals who have been residing in this area have told us is that there were no tensions that developed over here on the ground, but yes, these people had shops in the main market, and hence they feared that the situation could go out of hand and they could also be targeted, and hence all these people have vacated their houses and in fact have put these locks right in front of their houses. It has been 3 days. The police has constantly been saying that the situation is back to normal, but yes, there is a lot of tension, there is a lot of fear that can still be sensed in the atmosphere out here in Bashapur. The police is saying that yes, they are taking preventive measures. Adequate booths are deployed on the ground just to make sure that the law and order situation remains under control. Over the last 12 to 14 hours, there has been no new instances that have been reported of any sort of violence.
After a number of communal incidents that have happened in the parts of Haryana, things are returning to normal. At least administration is claiming like that. I am standing in Gurgaon city and will try to show you the visuals of the traffic. Traffic flow is normal as it is generally seen in the normal days. We know that how several sort of offices and institutes were asked to remain shut in several parts of Haryana. But while talking about this particular patch, Gurgaon city, which is bordering with the national capital, so condition is absolutely normal. In fact, offices are working. Yes, there are a number of corporate offices that have asked their staff to work from home because of the conditions in the adjoining areas. But as far as restrictions are concerned, so other than section 144, no such restriction has been placed here in Gurgaon city. Also talking about this particular area, so we know that how sensitive this area is, given the fact that thousands of people from across the states, from Delhi, from Noida and from other areas as well, come to this particular place, go back after their work.
The situation in Gurugram has been normal over the last few days. There has been no reports of any sort of communal clash that might have broken out over here. But yes, there are instances where shops have been set on fire of a specific community. And that is the reason why section 144 has been imposed in this entire area, and flag marches like these are being carried out across Gurugram at this point in time. Because remember, currently at the spot at which I am standing, this is the Bachapur area in which we saw instance of fire happening, which eventually inflated the situation in this entire area, and hence the confidence of locals who are residing in this area has definitely gone down. These flag marches are being conducted just to make sure that the people who are affected by these, the fear that is still amongst the people, that fear is taken away, and it is proved that the police and the administration is on the roads making sure that safety and security is provided to them. Till this point, the investigation is ongoing in the violence that broke out in Nuh. At least 139 people have already been arrested, 45 FIRs have been registered. Several special investigations team has been made by the Haryana police just to make sure that the law and order situation remains under control, and also the perpetrators of the rioting that happened in Nuh, these perpetrators are brought to the books at the earliest.
So we'll keep a very close eye on all those developments, as our colleagues were mentioning in those multiple ground reports that slowly the entire area in and around Nuh is limping back to normalcy. Time for us to slip into a very short break. Don't go anywhere. We're coming back with lots more.
आप धीरे धीरे हिंदुस्तान की बाकी राज्यों में एक किस्म के ही हमला करते रहेंगे। अगर आपको ये लगे कि यहाँ घोटाला होते रहते, ये घोटाले के लिए क्या ये बिल लाना जरूरी था? आपके हाथ में ईडी है, सीबीआई है, कितने सारे फौजें हैं आपके हाथ में, कितने सारे शक्तियां हैं अपने जेब में, तब उसको इस्तेमाल क्यों नहीं करते? ये घोटाला की चलते, घोटाला की विरोध करने के लिए आपको क्या ये बिल लाना जरूरी था? मैं ये सवाल पूछना चाहता है। दूसरी सवाल ये है कि देखिए ये अध्यादेश की घोषणा लोकतांत्रिक और न्यायिक विचार विमर्श का दरकिनार करने का एक स्पष्ट प्रयास है। क्योंकि मैं बता रहा हूं, क्योंकि सुप्रीम कोर्ट की 2023 संविधान पीठ के फैसले के महज 6 दिन बाद ही 17 मई 2023 के अध्यादेश को मंजूरी देने वाले कैबिनेट प्रस्ताव पारित किया गया था, जबकि अध्यादेश को 19 मई को ही कानूनी रूप दिया गया और उसी शाम जैसे ही सुप्रीम कोर्ट की छुट्टियां शुरू हुई, इस अध्यादेश को जनता के लिए लागू कर दिया गया। ये सही है, ये गलत? अब बताओ, इतना जल्दबाजी क्यों आपको लगे कि अध्यादेश के तहत ये बिल लाना जरूरी समझा आपने? क्यों ये अध्यादेश लाने की क्या जरूरत थी? आप तो सीधा बिल ला सकते। ये जरूरी क्या थी? ये इमरजेंसी क्या थी? एक्स्ट्रा ऑर्डिनरी सिचुएशन क्या थी उस समय? आपको सदन में ये बताना पड़ेगा। देखिए 1991 में द पार्लियामेंट ऑल्सो पास द गवर्नमेंट ऑफ नेशनल कैपिटल टेरिटरी ऑफ दिल्ली एक्ट टू सप्लीमेंट द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल प्रोविजन रिलेटिंग टू द लेजिस्लेटिव असेंबली एंड द काउंसिल ऑफ मिनिस्टर्स. It conferred on the assembly the power to legislate on all matters in the state list as well as the concurrent list except land, police and public order. Further, in 2018, the Constitution bench of the Supreme Court has dealt with the issue of the powers of Delhi government. Supreme Court involves the interpretation of Article 239AA of the Constitution. which deals with the governance structure of the national capital. In the ruling, the Constitution bench held that although Delhi could not be accorded the status of a state, the concept of federalism would still apply to it. Yes, हमें चिंता जरूर करना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि हिंदुस्तान में अगर संघीय ढांचा ना बचेगा तो हिंदुस्तान तबाह हो जाएगी। इस कगर में हिंदुस्तान ना जाए, इसलिए हमें चिंता करना जरूरी है। The 2018 ruling said that with the introduction of Article 239AA in the Constitution, Parliament envisaged a representative form of government for Delhi while seeking to provide a directly elected legislative assembly with legislative powers over matters within the state list and the concurrent states barring those exempted. कल हमारा सदन में जब परसों ये चर्चा होते समय हमें जब विरोध करना जरूरी महसूस किया तो हमारे कोई नेता, ज्ञानी नेता यहाँ उठ के कह रहे थे कि हमारे एरुडाइट हम लोग नहीं है, ये कानून नहीं समझते। मानते हैं उन जैसा फ्लैम्बॉयंट लीगल लुमिनरी मैं कम से कम नहीं हूँ, ये बिल्कुल मानता। लेकिन एक बात जरूर कहना चाहते हैं कि ये जो आपकी तरफ से जो बयान दिया गया था वो भी हमारे पास है। वो ये था कि ये आपने माना कि verdict itself had noted that since there is no central legislation governing the services and the decision making process in Delhi, the power would lie with the elected government. ये आपका तर्क है। आपका दूसरी तर्क ये है, the center has removed the basis and reason on which the judgment was given. The Supreme Court decision on the interpretation of Article 239AA, entry 41 in the absence of any specific parliamentary legislation dealing with the subject of services seemed to be an acknowledgement of the Supreme Court as the superior authority of Parliament to make laws for national capital. ये आपका तर्क यही है। तो इसके साथ मैं ये कहना चाहते हैं, बिल्कुल आपका तर्क सही है, लेकिन ये भी सही है कि review petition filed by the center in the Supreme Court claimed that Delhi is not a full-fledged state, but only a union territory which is an extension of the union. आपको सुविधा ये मैं बता रहा हूँ। The parliament is Delhi's true legislation. ये भी अपने कहते हैं, true legislation. ये भी अपने कहते हैं। The center has argued, however, the May 11 judgment addresses the contention by acknowledging that though Delhi is not a entrusted with the power to legislate upon the subject in the state list and concurrent list. आपके यहाँ बहुत बड़े बड़े वकील बैठे हुए हैं, हमारा रविशंकर प्रसाद जी वो भी है, आप खुद आप देख लीजिए। द यूनानिमस जजमेंट, मैं एक बड़े मेन स्ट्रीम पेपर से मैं ये उद्धृत करते हैं। द यूनानिमस जजमेंट हेल्ड दैट दो दिल्ली इज नॉट ए स्टेट अंडर द फर्स्ट शेड्यूल टू द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, it is conferred with power to legislate upon subject to give effect to the aspiration of the people of NCTD. It has a democratically elected government which is accountable to the people of the NCTD. Under the constitution scheme envisaged in Article 239AA Clause 3, NCTD was given legislative power which, though limited in many aspects, is similar to states. In the sense, with the addition of Article 239AA, the constitution created an asymmetric federal model with the Union of India at the center and the NCTD at the regional level. ये यूनियन टेरिटरी बने 1956 में। देखिए, मेरा सिर्फ यही कहना है कि अब जो भी कहे, शंका हमारे इसलिए है कि हिंदुस्तान में से एक ही राज्य दिल्ली नहीं है। अगर दिल्ली में इस तरीके की छेड़खानी होते रहेंगे तो इसके चलते आप धीरे धीरे हिंदुस्तान की बाकी राज्यों में एक किस्म के ही हमला करते रहेंगे। अगर आपको ये लगे कि यहाँ घोटाला होते रहते, ये घोटाले के लिए क्या ये बिल लाना जरूरी था? आपके हाथ में ईडी है, सीबीआई है, कितने सारे फौजें हैं आपके हाथ में, कितने सारे शक्तियां हैं अपने जेब में, तब उसको इस्तेमाल क्यों नहीं करते? ये घोटाला की चलते।
Welcome back. Thanks a lot for staying with us. We want to now shift our focus to a CNN News 18 exclusive, and this is courtesy our investigations editor Manoj Gupta. This is a story that's coming in from Pakistan, where we're going to expose Pakistan once again to show you how Pakistan continues to be unsafe for minorities and how atrocities against minorities still continues in Pakistan. Now a case has come to light of a businessman, a Hindu businessman who's been kidnapped in Pakistan, and a video that has been released by the businessman's family show the kind of torture and the atrocities that have been levied on him. This man has now been identified as Jagdish Kumar, and look at the visuals that we're putting out on our screens. This is a video that has been released by his family where the Hindu businessman can be seen chained as well. Let's also now bring in our colleague Siddhant to try and understand what really has happened. Siddhant, as I said, once again Pakistan being exposed of how it is unsafe for minorities, atrocities against minorities still continues. This particular case of this Hindu businessman Jagdish Kumar, help us understand when was he kidnapped, from where was he kidnapped, and do we know the people who've kidnapped him, any sort of demands that have been made?
Interestingly, Ridhima, this entire kidnapping happened in the month of June, and till today, neither the police force in Pakistan has a clue that where Jagdish Makki is, nor any of his relatives. And this perhaps tells you the state of affairs in Pakistan. Hindu businessman was kidnapped and ransom of 5 crore was asked by the from his family. And it's been 2 months the investigation is going on, but there has not been a single breakthrough from the police's end. Also, breakthrough is a different thing. The investigation in the matter has not started when police doesn't have a clue that what has happened to this businessman. So, with each passing day, with each passing month, these atrocities, kidnapping, the violence against the minority in Pakistan is increasing. And perhaps, not just in Pakistan, it's only India, which time and again has been speaking about the condition of minority community in Pakistan. No other country across the globe has ever, conveyed in a strict way to Pakistan to take care of the minority community. So that is also a matter of a concern, that why US or perhaps the other nations from the West don't react to the situation of minorities in Pakistan. Back to you.
Siddhant, we'll have to leave that conversation there. Thanks a lot for getting us all those details. We want to now shift our focus to the other big story that we're tracking, which is coming in from Hyderabad, and a very unfortunate one, once again, which is going to make us question what are the authorities on the ground doing? Where is the taxpayers' money going? And the reason that we're saying this is because an 8-year-old girl, a class 3rd student, has lost her life because of potholes. A young Dikshita was on the scooter with her father, who was just trying to avoid potholes. A bus hits them from behind, which leads to Dikshita falling off the ground, dying immediately, and her father sustaining injuries as well. So as I said, a young life cut short, once again raising questions as to what are the authorities doing, and more importantly, why are they even being elected if the basics cannot be completed. Let's also now bring in our colleague Swastika, who's been keeping a close eye on all those developments for us. Swastika, as I said, once again, unfortunately, this is not going to be the last time we are hearing of something like this. A young life has been cut short because of potholes. 2 questions that still remain. What are the elected authorities doing? Where is the taxpayers' money going?
Well, to answer your second question first, this particular stretch of road was in fact sanctioned with rupees 135 crores back in 2022 by the state government to strengthen and widen it. When we visited this spot earlier this morning to do our ground report, we witnessed potholes, cracked roads, commuters literally struggling. And yesterday's incident is something that has raised shockwaves across the state, particularly because it involves an 8-year-old child who fell off her bike and then was run over by a school van. But why did she fall off her bike in the first place? Because her father was trying to dodge through pothole-riddled roads, and this is an area which has also seen, or which is seeing, a lot of high rises coming up. Also raises questions on the poor infrastructure, considering that Hyderabad had been receiving rains for the last 1 week and several of these areas are completely broken down in terms of the road infrastructure. The state government on its part has not issued any official statement because the police have made it clear that this was a case of rash driving and that there was no other specified reason stated in the FIR. The FIR against the driver who has been arrested says that he has been booked under section 337 and 304A of the Indian Penal Code, but the fact remains, and based on eyewitness accounts, most of them parents who drop their children to schools regularly say that traversing through these stretch of road is a nightmare for them. And in that report that I filed this morning, you can see practically every 50 meter of the road is full of craters, full of potholes, and something that raises questions on the glitzy and glamorous image of Hyderabad, where you see ITs and booming industries, you see massive skyscrapers, but the fact is that the traffic infrastructure, the road infrastructure is pathetic to say the least, Ridhima.
Swastika, we'll just request you to stay on with us because we want to take in a reaction from the BJP as well. The General Secretary of the BJP, in fact, now joining us. So good to have you with us here on CNN News 18. How do you see this entire episode that has come to light, a young life that has been cut short just because the father was trying to avoid a pothole?
Hello, good evening.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, good evening.
Yes. Mr. Reddy, I was asking you if you can hear me. Yes, sir. Mr. Reddy, I was asking you if you can hear me this time around. A young life has been cut short. A young 8-year-old has lost her life only because the father was trying to avoid a pothole. How do you see the civic apathy?
This is a very bad and unfortunately this is incident. But I think it is a total responsibility TRS government, particularly TRS party working president, is a minister concerned that Mr. KTR. KTR is a total and TRS party now is a BRS party is responsible. Number of incidents are continuously going on in Telangana, particularly Hyderabad. Even KCR and KTR several times they are globally and as well as a number of times in press conference in Hyderabad is international place. Hyderabad international facilities, Hyderabad international infrastructure is there. He is continuously telling in lies. But now who is to take the responsibility? I am asking a simple question to KTR. What is the BRS government last 9 years is one of the metropolitan city in Hyderabad.
Yeah.
What the taken measures? This is asking the BJP. First of all, is a KTR they are resigned. He take the responsibility as a minister. Particularly KTR is one of the powerful minister in KCR cabinet. He is also working president of the ruling party.
So,
but why they are not silent?
All these questions that you're asking as far as ruling government is concerned, I want to understand at this point what is the BJP demanding. But those parents have already lost their young daughter. The father has also sustained massive injuries with a fracture as well. They're not going to get their daughter back. But what is a long-term solution so that we don't see these cases coming to light once again?
All citizens of in Hyderabad, important organizations is there. Number of times, several times they are reporting, some media people also. All political parties gather on meeting. What is the solution is there? You take the measures. You explain to public as well as all political parties, and also their support to who is the victim family is there. Their support to government also. What is the need of requirements is there in parents like that? No, that's the actually BJP demand. Immediately will take the measures. At least further activities also. Government what they take the measures. You show that explain to public. That is the BJP demand.
Okay, Mr. Reddy, we'll have to leave that conversation there. Appreciate you speaking to us here at CNN News 18. Let me go back to our colleague Swastika, who continues to track these developments for us. Swastika, on expected lines, there is now a political war of words that has erupted with the BJP training its guns at the state government, saying the state government has been caught napping, they're not doing anything. But I want to understand the on-ground situation. I'm sure that this is not the only area which is facing issues as far as potholes is concerned. If one has to do a general scan of the city, are there multiple areas that continue to face an issue like this?
Yes. Absolutely. In fact, if you look at Twitter, you can see a lot of people. And why I say Twitter is because the state government here easily accessible on Twitter. KT Ramarao replies regularly to the concerns raised by the citizens. And in fact, that's the reason why a lot of people on Twitter have posted pictures of bad roads. Bachupalli is one such area which is a regular and is a habitual offender with many people. And the state government, remember, here has sanctioned 135 crores in 2022 to fill up the roads to strengthen, and despite that, if you take a walk around that area, it's fully broken. It has potholes. It also has debris of the ongoing construction activity that has been happening on a rampant scale. Not just that, if you go to Alvin Chaurasta and many areas towards Hyderabad, especially apart from the IT corridor, it is full of potholes, and in fact something that goes against the state government's promise of turning roads into mirrors.
Swastika, we'll have to leave that conversation there. Keep a close eye on all those developments for us. We have to quickly shift our focus to some other breaking developments also now coming in. And this is as far as the ongoing Gyanvapi case is concerned, where we now understanding a caveat, in fact, has been filed as far as the top court is concerned. We're understanding 4 women who were party as far as the Allahabad High Court are concerned. These are the 4 women who've now filed a caveat with the Supreme Court as far as the Gyanvapi case is concerned. We'll try and get more details with our legal correspondent of what's really happened. But this is, of course, coming on a day when there has been a green signal given to the ASI survey, which in fact will begin tomorrow itself. Our legal correspondent Ananya Bhatnagar now joining us on the broadcast. Ananya, help us understand what is this caveat that's been filed with the top court?
Well, this is the caveat that was filed by Mr. Vishnu Shankar Jain, who is representing 4 of the petitioners who were there before the Allahabad High Court, which includes Sita Sahu and others. And very, very categorically, this affidavit states that no kind of an order shall be passed if at all the Muslim side approaches. And we've seen how the Muslim side now approach the Supreme Court. So Mr. Vishnu Shankar Jain, on behalf of the Hindu parties, has filed this affidavit clearly saying that no orders shall be passed without hearing the Hindu side in this particular matter with regards to the Gyanvapi case. And in fact, if I tell you about the situation at this point of time, Ridhima, is that both, in fact, the Hindu side and the Muslim side lawyers are right outside the chambers of Registrar Judicial. Registrar Judicial is the officer of the Supreme Court who is actually responsible for, listing a particular matter at a particular time. So we might expect that, some kind of action is expected in a late night hearing. Might as well take place. However, all of this only is subject to the orders of the Chief Justice of India, Dr. Justice Dhananjay Yashwant Chandrachud, and we'll have to wait for that. But the lawyers of both the sides are right outside the chambers of the Registrar Judicial, and we might see if at all some kind of a direction actually comes in. But at this point of time, the big development is that a caveat has now been filed before the Supreme Court by Mr. Vishnu Shankar Jain for those 4 Hindu parties, and in fact a clear order has been sought that no kind of orders shall be passed before in fact hearing the Hindu side in this particular matter.
Okay, and keep a close eye on all those developments for us. So we'll keep tracking all those developments. For now, we're slipping into a very short break. Don't go anywhere. We're coming back with lots more.
विरोध करने के लिए आपको क्या ये बिल लाना जरूरी था? मैं ये सवाल पूछना चाहते हैं। दूसरी सवाल ये है कि देखिए ये अध्यादेश की घोषणा लोकतांत्रिक और न्यायिक विचार विमर्श का दरकिनार करने का एक स्पष्ट प्रयास है। क्योंकि मैं बता रहा हूं, क्योंकि सुप्रीम कोर्ट की 2023 संविधान पीठ के फैसले के महज 6 दिन बाद ही 17 मई 2023 के अध्यादेश को मंजूरी देने वाले कैबिनेट प्रस्ताव पारित किया गया था, जबकि अध्यादेश को 19 मई को ही कानूनी रूप दिया गया और उसी शाम जैसे ही सुप्रीम कोर्ट की छुट्टियां शुरू हुई, इस अध्यादेश को जनता के लिए लागू कर दिया गया। ये सही है, ये गलत? अब बताओ, इतना जल्दबाजी क्यों आपको लगे कि अध्यादेश के तहत ये बिल लाना जरूरी समझा है आपने? क्यों ये अध्यादेश लाने की क्या जरूरत थी? आप तो सीधा बिल ला सकते। ये जरूरी क्या थी? ये इमरजेंसी क्या थी? एक्स्ट्रा ऑर्डिनरी सिचुएशन क्या थी उस समय? आपको सदन में ये बताना पड़ेगा। देखिए 1991 में द पार्लियामेंट ऑल्सो पास द गवर्नमेंट ऑफ नेशनल कैपिटल टेरिटरी ऑफ दिल्ली एक्ट, to supplement the constitutional provision relating to the Legislative Assembly and the Council of Ministers. It conferred on the Assembly the power to legislate on all matters in the state list as well as the concurrent list except land, police and public order. Further, in 2018, the Constitution Bench of the Supreme Court has dealt with the issue of the powers of Delhi government. Supreme Court involves the interpretation of Article 239AA of the Constitution, which deals with the governance structure of the national capital. In the ruling, the Constitution Bench held that although Delhi could not be accorded the status of a state, the concept of federalism would still apply to it. Yes, हमें चिंता जरूर करना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि हिंदुस्तान में अगर संघीय ढांचा ना बचेगा तो हिंदुस्तान तबाह हो जाएगी। इस कगर में हिंदुस्तान ना जाए, इसलिए हमें चिंता करना जरूरी है। The 2018 ruling said that with the introduction of Article 239AA in the Constitution, Parliament envisaged a representative form of government for Delhi while seeking to provide a directly elected Legislative Assembly with legislative powers over matters within the state list and the concurrent list barring those exempted. कल हमारा सदन में जब परसों ये चर्चा होते समय हमें जब विरोध करना जरूरी महसूस किया तो हमारे कोई नेता, ज्ञानी नेता यहाँ उठ के कह रहे थे कि हमारे एरुडाइट हम लोग नहीं है, ये कानून नहीं समझते। मानते हैं उन जैसा फ्लैम्बॉयंट लीगल लुमिनरी मैं कम से कम नहीं हूँ, ये बिल्कुल मानता। लेकिन एक बात जरूर कहना चाहते हैं कि ये जो आपकी तरफ से जो बयान दिया गया था वो भी हमारे पास है। वो ये था कि ये आपने माना कि verdict itself had noted that since there is no central legislation governing the services and the decision making process in Delhi, the power would lie with the elected government. ये आपका तर्क है। आपका दूसरी तर्क ये है, the center has removed the basis and reason on which the judgment was given. The Supreme Court decision on the interpretation of Article 239AA, entry 41 in the absence of any specific parliamentary legislation dealing with the subject of services seemed to be an acknowledgement of the Supreme Court as the superior authority of Parliament to make laws for national capital. ये आपका तर्क यही है। तो इसके साथ मैं ये कहना चाहते हैं, बिल्कुल आपका तर्क सही है, लेकिन ये भी सही है कि review petition filed by the center in the Supreme Court claimed that Delhi is not a full-fledged state, but only a union territory which is an extension of the union. आपको सुविधा ये मैं बता रहा हूँ। The parliament is Delhi's true legislation. ये भी अपने कहते, true legislation. ये भी अपने कहते। The center has argued, however, the May 11 judgment addresses the contention by acknowledging that though Delhi is not a full entrusted with the power to legislate upon the subject in the state list and concurrent list. आपके यहाँ बहुत बड़े बड़े वकील बैठे हुए हैं, हमारा रविशंकर प्रसाद जी वो भी है, आप खुद आप देख लीजिए। द यूनानिमस जजमेंट, मैं एक बड़े मेन स्ट्रीम पेपर से मैं ये उद्धृत करते हैं। द यूनानिमस जजमेंट हेल्ड दैट दो दिल्ली इज नॉट ए स्टेट अंडर द फर्स्ट शेड्यूल टू द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, it is conferred with power to legislate upon subject to give effect to the aspiration of the people of NCTD. It has a democratically elected government which is accountable to the people of the NCTD. Under the constitution scheme envisaged in Article 239AA Clause 3, NCTD was given legislative power which, though limited in many aspects, is similar to states. In the sense, with the addition of Article 239AA, the constitution created an asymmetric federal model with the Union of India at the center and the NCTD at the regional level. ये यूनियन टेरिटरी बने 1956 में। देखिए, मेरा सिर्फ यही कहना है कि आप जो भी कहे, शंका हमारे इसलिए है कि हिंदुस्तान में से एक ही राज्य दिल्ली नहीं है। अगर दिल्ली में इस तरीके की छेड़खानी होते रहेंगे तो इसके चलते आप धीरे धीरे हिंदुस्तान की बाकी राज्यों में एक किस्म के ही हमला करते रहेंगे। अगर आपको ये लगे कि यहाँ घोटाला होते रहते। ये घोटाले के लिए क्या ये बिल लाना जरूरी था? आपके हाथ में ईडी है, सीबीआई है, कितने सारे फौजें हैं आपके हाथ में, कितने सारे शक्तियां हैं अपने जेब में, तब उसको इस्तेमाल क्यों नहीं करते? ये घोटाला की चलते, घोटाला की विरोध करने के लिए आपको क्या ये बिल लाना जरूरी था? मैं ये सवाल पूछना चाहते हैं। दूसरी सवाल ये है कि देखिए ये अध्यादेश की घोषणा लोकतांत्रिक और न्यायिक विचार विमर्श का दरकिनार करने का एक स्पष्ट प्रयास है। क्योंकि मैं बता रहा हूं, क्योंकि सुप्रीम कोर्ट की 2023 संविधान पीठ के फैसले के महज 6 दिन बाद ही 17 मई
Welcome back. Thanks a lot for staying with us. Let's now talk about the big political story that we are tracking, which is the Lok Sabha today took up the Delhi Amendment Bill 2023, and the comments of the Union Home Minister became very interesting when the Home Minister recalled how leaders opposed giving Delhi a full state status. The Home Minister even targeted the AAP-led Delhi state government, saying that in the year 2015, a party came to power in Delhi whose only motive was to fight and not to serve the people of the national capital. He further attacked the government, saying the problem is not getting right to transfer postings, but getting control of the vigilance department to hide their corruption, like building their bungalows. Some political reactions now coming in.
अगर हमारी राजनीति में थोड़ी स्वीकृति कम है तो सबको मिलाना है। दिल्ली का जो होना है वो हो, जितना भ्रष्टाचार होना है वो हो। मंत्री कुछ भी करे, मुख्यमंत्री करोड़ों के बंगले बनाए, मगर हम विपक्ष में रहते हुए समर्थन करेंगे, क्योंकि हमें गठबंधन बनाना है। विजिलेंस को कंट्रोल में लेकर बंगला जो बना दिया है, इसका सत्य छुपाना है। जो भ्रष्टाचार हो रहा है, इसका सत्य छुपाना है। मेरी अपील है विपक्ष के सदस्यों को कि आप दिल्ली की सोचिए, अलायंस की मत सोचिए। अलायंस से फायदा नहीं होने वाला है। अलायंस होने के बाद भी पूर्ण बहुमत से नरेंद्र मोदी प्रधानमंत्री बनने वाले हैं। आज जब सदन में आए तो अच्छा लग रहे थे कि हमारे अमित शाह जी बार बार जवाहरलाल नेहरू जी को और कांग्रेस पार्टी को तारीफ कर रहे थे। मैंने सोचा क्या देख रहे हैं भाई, ये दिन है या रात है। मैं तो सोचा कि दौड़ के जाए और अमित शाह की मुंह में शक्कर शहद डाले, क्योंकि अमित शाह की मुंह से नेहरू जी की तारीफ, कांग्रेस की तारीफ बकाई मेरे लिए बड़ा अच्छा लगे। सर एक ही बात कहना चाहते हैं कि मान्यवर इधर उधर की बात ना कर, बता काफिला कैसे लूटा। मैं ये कहना चाहते हैं आपको जब जरूरत पड़ते हैं तब नेहरू जी को सहारा लेने पड़ते। आप अगर नेहरू जी को सहारा बराबर लेते रहते तो आज हिंदुस्तान में ये मणिपुर, हरियाणा हमें देखने को नहीं होते।
Well, with that, it's a wrap from my side, but news will continue here on CNN News 18. Viewpoint is up next.
आसमान ही नहीं, मैं अंतरिक्ष भी छू सकती हूँ। सरकार हो या कारोबार, हर बागडोर संभाल सकती हूँ। उठाए अगर कोई दुश्मन आंख तो करारा जवाब दे सकती हूँ। कंधे से कंधा मिलाकर सबके साथ बढ़ सकती हूँ। मैं कर सकती हूँ। सोच की दीवार हो या बंद हर किवाड़ हो, अपने हौसले से पार कर सकती हूँ। देश के निर्माण से लेकर दुनिया को आगे ले जाने में अपनी भागीदारी निभा सकती हूँ। मैं शी शक्ति हूँ। मैं कर सकती हूँ।
Your point was that the new region is itself the problem. But if the region was the problem, it wouldn't have happened peacefully for 3 previous times. So don't you think then that the video is the clear reason that this incident took place?
Violent antisocial elements who were shouting slogans came and attacked the procession at Adbar Chowk. They were also not just pelting stones, they also fired. This was not on the spur of a moment or spontaneous. This was pre-planned.
Delhi government has legislative and executive powers over services, yes, but the judgment also explicitly does not bar Parliament from making laws on that same subject. So then where is the need for a constitutional amendment?
Good evening and a warm welcome. I'm Rihatul Siddiqui and you're watching Viewpoint. Who gets to govern Delhi and how much of it? This has been the question haunting much of the city's history since it became the British capital in 1911. On May 11th this year, the Supreme Court had held that the elected Delhi government has power over all administrative services except those pertaining to police, public order and land. The 5-judge Constitution Bench, headed by Chief Justice of India D.Y. Chandrachud, came to this unanimous decision that other than in the aforementioned 3 areas, the Lieutenant Governor is bound by decisions taken by the Delhi Assembly. But overriding that order by the apex court, the Delhi Ordinance was brought in by the BJP.